No one ever truly asked why Superman shines brighter than the rest. They saw the heat vision, the flight, the invincibility, and assumed it was all because of Earth's yellow sun. But that's not the whole story. The truth is deeper, and far more dangerous. When Kal-El first arrived from Krypton, his cells weren't yet awake. He was just a child under a strange star. But as the years passed, something inside him stirred. A quiet energy, humming beneath his skin. Doctors called it a miracle of alien biology. Scientists called it solar absorption. But they didn't understand what that really meant. Superman doesn't just absorb sunlight. He transforms it. Every photon that touches his body is broken down, converted into something primal, cosmic energy, pure and infinite. It seeps into his muscles, his eyes, his very soul. That's why his strength has no limit. It's not stored in his body like fuel. It's part of him. He is the energy. Before we dive deeper into that mystery, make sure you subscribe to our channel to explore more hidden truths of heroes and gods like never before. Kryptonians were once a race of explorers. They learned to harness energy from their red sun, Ra, but it was weak, limited, a dying star. Under Ra's crimson light, their bodies were ordinary, restrained by gravity and biology. But under a yellow sun like Earth's, their evolution went wild. Superman's cells are miniature fusion reactors, each one capable of channeling more energy than a nuclear bomb. His biology doesn't age like ours. It refines, recycles, and amplifies light. That's why he doesn't sleep much, why he can survive in space, why he can fight for days without tiring. The sun inside him never sets. But there's something even more fascinating and terrifying. Superman's power doesn't just depend on sunlight. It craves it. The longer he's away from the sun, the weaker he becomes. But when he's closer, when he absorbs too much, something happens that few have ever seen. The first recorded event happened during the solar flare incident. Superman faced a cosmic weapon that threatened the planet. A device that shattered the upper atmosphere, filling it with pure radiation. In a desperate act, he drew in the entire solar field. Every ray, every particle, every ounce of the sun's fury. For one moment, he became a living star. His body glowed with the intensity of a dying sun. His skin burned white-hot. His heartbeat echoed like thunder. And then, he exploded. The blast vaporized a mountain range. When he returned hours later, he was human, powerless, fragile, and cold. Because the truth of his solar gift is this: the more power he takes, the more he risks losing himself. His body can store infinite light, but his mind cannot. That's why he always holds back. Why his punches never go full force. Why he fears himself more than any enemy. Lex Luthor once theorized that Superman's connection to sunlight isn't natural. He believed it was engineered, that Kryptonian scientists designed their descendants to evolve under alien stars, to spread across galaxies, to adapt and dominate. If that's true, then Superman isn't just a survivor. He's the first phase of a much larger design, a living seed of Kryptonian destiny. His solar power isn't just strength, it's programming. And deep within him, beyond the muscles and light, something ancient is waiting to wake up. Something even Superman doesn't understand. Something that may not be content with saving worlds, but ruling them. The deeper scientists study Superman, the more they realize he isn't powered by the sun. He is a fragment of it. Every Kryptonian cell acts like a prism, absorbing sunlight, splitting it, and transforming it into 1,000 new forms of energy. But what no one talks about is how those energies change him over time. Because with every sunrise, Superman evolves. And evolution doesn't stop when it reaches perfection. It keeps going forward, upward, and sometimes into something unknown. When Superman absorbs sunlight, it doesn't just stay on his skin. It seeps deep into his Kryptonian genome, into the nucleus of every cell, rewriting the code of what he is. What scientists once thought was solar storage turned out to be solar fusion. His heart beats like a miniature star, His lungs release energy bursts when he exhales. His pupils contract to regulate radiation output when he uses heat vision. But here's the part that even he doesn't fully understand. His body doesn't just adapt to the sun. It remembers it. Every moment under the sun leaves a residue, fragments of starlight locked in his DNA, forming what's called the solar memory layer. It's what allows him to draw power even when he's underground or in shadow. He carries sunlight within him, long after it fades from the sky. And over the decades, those layers have stacked, billions of photons compacted into living memory, each one whispering power from the past. There was a time in a far future timeline when Superman disappeared for 15,000 years. The Earth had turned cold. Humanity was fading. And then one day, a light appeared in the sky, a golden star, burning brighter than ever. That star wasn't born. It returned. It was Superman. His cells had absorbed so much solar energy that he transcended flesh and bone. He had become a living star, the Superman Prime. For 1,000,000 years, he slept in the heart of the sun, dreaming of home. When he awoke, he was beyond time, beyond weakness, beyond the limits of mortality. The last son of Krypton had become the first god of light. That's the hidden future of Superman's solar power. Not just strength, but transcendence. Every beam of sunlight he absorbs doesn't just make him powerful. It makes him eternal. But power like that comes with a price. You see, when Superman stores solar energy, it isn't perfect. There's always decay, radiation, heat, and pressure that slowly build up inside him. He controls it through meditation, restraint, and constant exposure to space. But sometimes, when that control slips, we see what happens. That's when the solar flare returns. The phenomenon where Superman releases every bit of energy in a single catastrophic burst, turning himself into a weapon and a ghost. For 24 hours afterward, he's just Clark Kent again. Human, weak, mortal. And though he hides it behind calm eyes, there's fear in that moment. Because for someone who has seen eternity through light, being human again feels like drowning in shadow. Few people know that not all sunlight affects Superman the same way. Under a yellow sun, he's strong. Under a blue sun, he becomes divine. His powers magnified beyond imagination. Under a red sun, he becomes ordinary. And under a white sun, he risks obliteration. Different stars change him, rewrite his chemistry, his mind, even his morality. Exposure to certain spectrums of light can awaken dormant traits in his DNA. There are theories that under certain cosmic conditions, Superman could split one light and one dark. A being of warmth and a being of radiation. If that ever happened, the world wouldn't face two Supermen. It would face the battle of creation versus decay itself. There's something almost tragic about it all. Superman draws his life from the same light that touches us every day. Yet for him, it's not comfort. It's dependence. Every moment away from sunlight chips at his strength, dulls his senses, and weakens his hope. That's why, no matter where he goes, even to the darkest corners of space, he always drifts back toward the light. Not because he wants it, because he needs it. And deep down, he wonders, what happens if one day he takes in more than even a god can bear? There's a quiet truth Superman rarely admits, even to himself. His power, his gift from the sun, is also his greatest fear. Because every source of energy eventually burns out. And one day, so will his. For decades, Clark Kent has saved worlds, outrun death, and defied time. But deep inside his Kryptonian biology, there's something he can't outrun: entropy. Even the most radiant star eventually cools. Even the brightest light flickers before the end. As the centuries pass, his solar cells begin to lose efficiency. They absorb light slower, release energy faster. His body, once a perfect conduit, begins to fight against itself. Too much energy, too little control. He starts feeling it in small ways. The flight that used to feel effortless now takes focus. The heat vision that once cut through mountains now drains him for hours. And though no one on Earth can tell, Superman knows the truth. He's dimming. In one possible future, told across shattered timelines, Superman watches the sun itself die. Humanity has left the solar system. The Earth is frozen, drifting through endless night. For a time, he stands alone, the last guardian of a world that forgot to look up. He tries to reignite the star. He dives deep into the sun's heart, pouring every ounce of himself into it. He becomes part of it, fusing with the last fragments of nuclear fire. And for a moment, it works. The sun blazes again, bright and alive. But its color isn't yellow anymore. It's white, brilliant, blinding, a fusion of all spectrums. The sun now burns with his energy. Superman doesn't stand beneath it anymore. He is it. For all eternity, his light warms the earth again. And that's how humanity's legend ends, not with darkness, but with Superman becoming the very sun he worshipped. But before that day ever comes, there's another truth hidden beneath his power. One even Superman has only begun to realize. Every beam of light he absorbs carries memory. Every ray of the sun remembers what it touches, meaning that within his body, within that endless storm of energy, are traces of every moment he's ever lived. Every rescue, every fight, every heartbeat. His solar core isn't just energy. It's history, it's soul. That's why Kryptonian science once described solar radiation as the breath of Ra. They believed sunlight was divine, a conscious force capable of shaping destiny. And maybe they were right, because sometimes, when Superman closes his eyes, he swears he can hear it. The sound of the sun whispering back. 1,000 voices, calling him by his true name. Not Superman, but Kal-El, child of light. There's one last secret the world has never seen. What happens if Superman's light turns against him? This happened once before. A kryptonite weapon fractured his cells, twisting his solar absorption into inversion. Instead of drawing power from the sun, he began feeding on its shadow, absorbing negative radiation. His heat vision turned black. His aura burned cold. For 37 minutes, Superman became something else entirely. A dark star, radiating decay instead of life. But even in that darkness, something inside him resisted. His mind, his memories, his human heart pulled him back. Because no matter how deep the shadow, Superman's truth has never changed. He's not just powered by the sun. He is its will, the living reminder that light doesn't fade because it's strong. It survives because it refuses to stop shining. Every day, the sun rises over Metropolis. People go to work. Kids run across the streets. And somewhere above them, a red and blue figure drifts quietly through the clouds, soaking in the first light of dawn. Not because he needs it, but because he remembers where it all began. He smiles, not for himself, but for the world below. Because as long as the sun rises, hope will too. And if one day the light truly fades, humanity won't be left in darkness. Because the greatest secret of Superman's solar power is that he's been sharing it with the world all along. Every rescue, every word, every act of kindness. Tiny bursts of his light passed into others. And in every one of us, there burns a spark of what made him a god. So when his sun finally sets, when Superman himself is gone, that spark will remain. And through us, the light will rise again. Because the truth about Superman's solar power is simple, it was never just his. It was ours.